Hello and welcome to my channel. Today it is the color season wrap-up video. Yay! So basically back in, let's see when it was because I have all the videos in front of me. 2 months ago, I started a quest, a journey to Middle Earth, to Mordor. Anyway, I started a journey where I was going through every single season on the color wheel. So if you're here, you must be familiar with this idea of color season analysis. I believe this started in the 80s, color season analysis, but on TikTok in particular these days, it's really kicked off and people kind of are obsessing over it. There's so many filters, which I find incredibly unhelpful, but so many ways to analyze yourself. You can deep dive on Reddit threads and get really obsessed. I've been there. But the more I kind of engaged with the color seasons, the more I felt like, but this doesn't fully make sense. Like, I would think I was one season, then it would be like, but you can't wear this. You can't do that. Like, what? No. On a most basic example, somebody with really light, fair coloring, let's say a blonde with really light eyes, can't wear black. Come on, are you serious? That can be such a classic, sophisticated look. I wasn't fully buying it. However, I do think we can all find colors that work best for us depending on what goal we have in mind. So let's say the baseline goal, which the color seasons is about, is sort of looking your most radiant and healthy. You can definitely find colors that bring that out, that bring out the sparkle in your eyes, that bring out your hair, make it look more vibrant. 100%, we all have colors that work a little bit better for us when that's our goal. But then on the other side, there are colors that will work for us to create an effect, a different effect, whether it's looking vampy, badass, whether it's looking ethereal, whether it's looking maybe more mature, maybe younger, whatever it is, we can I was about to say weaponize, we can harness colors to do something for us, whether it's in our makeup, our hair colors, our outfits, and also, we can't forget that color is a form of self-expression, right? So a lot of people will find out, oh God, I'm a soft summer or something, and be bummed, be like, well, I want to wear more badass colors. It just I don't like the attitude that it's well, you can't wear that, because we also have to bear in mind our own personal style, our personal tastes, our creativity, and what magic a color brings to us personally. So I don't know if you've heard this before, but someone had said, one of these really in-depth color analysis people, I'm not sure who it was, but I saw it on my TikTok, and she was like, someone may compliment a color on you. Say I'm wearing a blue sweater right now, and someone says, wow, I love that sweater. It looks great. And someone's noticing it. This woman was like, well, they may just be noticing it because it's their favorite color. It's not necessarily making you look better. And it's well, is there a difference? Is there really a difference there if there's something you wear and people compliment it just because it's eye-catching for them? The thing is, beauty is so subjective. The love of colors and the perception of colors is literally so subjective because some people are colorblind. And at the end of the day, we don't even really know how another person perceives color differently. For all we know, it looks different across the board. That's a little existential thought on my end, but all that to say, color and what's beautiful, what works, I think it's expansive, it's diverse, and it shouldn't be put into a box. However, again, back to my whole point, I did want to do the whole journey of every single color season because I wanted to see what each season could offer me. And if I did find there was colors that I could turn to that maybe I could rely on to like feel my best self if I had, God, like a job interview or something like that. So yeah, I'm going to go through every look I did. I'll show you the looks if you hadn't followed along on the whole journey, but definitely go and check back on these tutorials if you're interested or if any looks catch your eye. I'll just be showing the end results of each look. Okay, so I started with Soft Autumn, a season characterized by colors that are both muted and warm, which I had been gravitating to colors like this in general. Like they're some of my favorite colors for my house, for my wardrobe. I definitely prefer things having a touch of mutedness and depth. And based on the whole rules of the color season, I kind of suspected I'm not, by the rules, a soft autumn. My hair is naturally blonde, just so you know. But I don't know, I've always loved these colors. And when I'm looking back on this look, I mean, I think it's really pretty. I don't see anything wrong with it. But if I were to say anything bad, negative, I suppose in a way, my actual complexion, like the skin tone against some of maybe the blush and the lip looks it doesn't look like a seamless blend. I guess that's what I'm getting at. It's like there is a bit of contrast happening there. Yeah, I think that's why I like it. I went for sort of like a terracotta eye with a little bit of champagne gold shimmer and yeah, some glossy terracotta lips. This is a look I do on the regular when I'm looking to feel really put together. I consider it kind of more soft, subtle makeup, although other people will be like, oh, that's a full face. I don't know, I really loved this season. I think it's approachable. I don't feel like it washed me out or anything, so I don't have too much to say about that one besides it was easy, approachable, I liked it, and yeah, it kind of goes with my hair. So dyeing hair is something to think about with the color season. Some people are so about it that they're like, no, your natural hair is always the best color for you. It's like, oh my God, that is so not true. A lot of people use Zoe Deschanel as a huge example for the color seasons, and I do think she's a very good example in that the dark hair really brings something so striking to her. However, then I did see somebody critiquing this idea that she looked bad as a blonde. They're like, I wish I knew where this video was, but it was like, you're telling me, like, and they have a picture of Zoe Deschanel blonde, like, that this girl wouldn't be, like, on the cover of some 90s rock album, you know? Like, you telling me this girl's not a heartbreaker? She is beautiful no matter what. So that's also something to bear in mind in terms of, like, changing up your hair color. Like, yeah, Zoe Deschanel is beautiful in all colors. The dark hair just presents a new facet to her beauty. And yeah, as a natural blonde, I just personally love the red hair for myself. It just feels like connected to me, like in my soul. And it just feels like a better reflection of me. Yeah, it may change up what colors like kind of like will bring out different aspects of my appearance more than if I had blonde hair. So that's why I feel like the soft autumn, though I don't fit in to the actual like guidelines, I think it does something. It complements my hair and yeah, I really like it. I have a lot of it in my wardrobe. Now I did the warm True Autumn next. This is characterized by warmth. Like the colors are warm and muted and like the warmth is the first aspect of it. Yeah, I decided to opt for an orange monochrome look, but rather than doing like a bright orange from the spring palette, it was oranges with a bit more mutedness to it. This to me is a look that is definitely more bold. Like I feel like it's going into the territory of special occasion or like Instagram-y makeup. It's not something I would turn to for like an everyday look to feel my best in. Maybe if anything, the bright orange is taking away from my hair color a little bit, like, and kind of being more the center of attention rather than looking sort of seamless. It's like almost like dulling the orange of my hair because it's a bit more vibrant orange going on. But it really brought out the blue in my eyes, in my opinion. My eyes can be blue or green or gray, kind of depending on the light, but this kind of brought the blueness out in them. Yeah, this was a pretty look. I really like it. Yeah, it's like not too vibrant. It's definitely got a bit of depth into it as it moves into the sister palette of the dark autumn. So I'm gonna look at the dark autumn. This was a look I felt a bit overwhelmed by. I tried a different lip first just to see how it would look, just really leaning into the sort of rich but muted warm shades of this palette, and it definitely felt like too much for me to do all of that at once, so I switched up the lip for a brown. This look translates very dramatic on my complexion. I went for like a darker waterline, dark brown in the waterline, like copper eyes. Yeah, I'm not going to wear this to meet the grandparents, let's just say, or go to meet the parents. When I was sort of wearing it in the daytime, it feels like, yeah, just a bit overwhelming for me on an everyday basis. However, I still really like this look. What I like about it is that it conjures kind of it looks dramatic, looks a little bit witchy. It feels aligned with a lot of my wardrobe, with a lot of my personal style in terms of like what I gravitate towards in art and cinema, even like thinking of like color and cinematography, dark, moody, but with warmth. Like I think the dark brown in the waterline really brings my eyes forward. They look almost like a dark teal, which is cool. Yeah, this looks dramatic for me, but fun. For definitely some occasions, this is something I might do. Now I moved into the winter seasons, and off the bat, based on the guidelines, not a winter. I don't have high contrast. I don't have super dark hair. I have kind of more washed out eyes. They're not like bright blue like Alexis Bledel, or have that high contrast in the complexion. Like Lupita Nyong'o is a great example of one of the winter palettes. Like, I know this wasn't for me, but I started with the True Winter and was inspired by Liv Tyler. Think of her in Lord of the Rings, like the deep berries, that bitten lip look. The True Winter is where coolness is like the first thing you notice. So I went for like a silvery white eye, and I was obsessed with this look. I remember at some point in this video, I was like, am I cool toned? Am I a winter? Even though I couldn't possibly be in some ways, but something about this glittery like earring to match the eyes, like it just felt really magical to me. It felt like this is what I'd wear every day if I was an elf in the forest, you know what I mean? And I thought what it brought to my features was it kind of made my skin sort of feel like lit up in some ways. Yeah, I really love this look. It just felt really like ethereal. It was glowy. I've actually recreated this look on the everyday at times just because I liked it so much. I was using Clinique Black Honey, which is a favorite lippy of mine and was used by Liv Tyler in Lord of the Rings. But actually I heard a fun fact about that recently. Apparently they use Clinique Black Honey because Liv Tyler had such high pigment in her lips. They actually wanted to mute it a little, which actually makes so much sense to me because my favorite way to wear Black Honey to get that Liv Tyler effect is with a bright lip stain under it. And I found that out recently. I was like, oh my God, makes so much sense. Oh, look at me. I'm so intuitive because I figured out the hack. Yeah, black honey with a like Benetint under it, or like one of those bright milk jelly tints, one of the fuchsia ones. Great pairing for anyone. And yeah, I don't know. I just really love this look. I know I'm not cool toned because in person, like in the daytime, there is like a yellowness to my undertone. And this is where I want to mention something the color seasons don't talk too much about, which is olive undertone. And among this color season analysis in the beauty communities, there's been a lot of talk about olive undertones and how they've been left behind in the dust a little bit. Foundation ranges left out. There's usually like one olive tone, and it's for somebody with that very classic deeper skin. But a lot of people are saying that olive undertones can be present in all across, the skin tones. And I'm a rather fair person, but someone once brought up to me, hey, have you tried the Lisa Eldridge olive foundation? Which is like one of the only fair olive tones out there. And I was like, maybe I'll take a chance and try this foundation shade. And it's the only foundation, this is the shade 2.5, the only foundation that has matched my neck to a T. I generally use neutral foundations. Whenever I've used that, I have noticed like when I'm in stark daylight, I can really see that it's casting pink, like the neutral. But then I'll try a warm foundation, then it looks way too yellow. And it just felt like there was a missing link there. And I think fair olives in particular, like very fair olive skin, is starting to get a little bit more recognition, and a little bit more, people are starting to put out shades to accommodate that. And yeah, the thing about olives is they can be warm, they can be cool, but they're a bit of an anomaly in terms of talking about the color seasons, because it doesn't fit specifically into anything. So this is my kind of runaround way of introducing this idea that though I am not a winter, and if you're like me and you're a fair person who doesn't have that high contrast, but like really find berry tones work for them, look into this idea of having an olive undertone. I haven't examined it fully. I haven't found any concealers yet, but I am going to, after this video, I think do a fair olive makeup look, really leaning into shades that complement an olive complexion, because this is the match. So I'm sort of thinking that's why some of the berries really make me feel like they bring a liveliness to my complexion. So next I did the Bright Winter, and I did have a mishap with this one at first. I tried to do like a really bold cobalt blue, and I think it was less the color and more my execution. I was trying to put together such a bold look really fast, and it was just a mess. So I had to refilm. But so yeah, here's the footage of that first look. I just thought this was just way too much for me. I didn't even like it in an editorial sense. Like, it just not good. So I opted for a little bit more of a subtle nod to these really bright and cool shades, in that I put a cobalt blue liner with fuchsia lips and bright eyes. I ended up really liking this look. Some of these like kind of, I don't know, like bright and cool shades like kind of play interestingly with my skin. And I think the first thing you notice about this look is probably like you gravitate, whoa, that's a bright lip. But that's not a bad thing to me. I like when people wear bold and bright lips, and it's like sometimes it's like so disharmonious that it's like incredibly eye-catching in a very beautiful way. It's unique, it's stylish, it's a bit editorial. Yeah, like I feel like I'm thinking of like if a woman with a really dark complexion wears like a really vibrant, warm and bright orange lip, like it is so eye-catching. So yeah, I didn't feel this look felt bold to me. But in a little bit more of an approachable way, just my execution. So I think when you're trying colors that feel either outside your comfort zone, or maybe you feel like they compete too much with your other features, just try integrating it in little ways, like with the colored liner. That's a perfect way to try out some shades that feel like intimidating maybe. So it's the same with wardrobe. Like if you're finding you're overwhelmed by like, let's just say like a bright fuchsia dress, but you love that color, but you just don't like it all over. I love to have like a neutral top and like sometimes play with like color or patterns on my bottom half, like a skirt or even pants, like being the different shades. I think that's a great way to integrate colors that you find might be intimidating around your face or patterns. So yeah, anyway, if you like a color, you can find a way to make it work for you. So then there was the dark winter, with dark and coolness being the primary things to factor in. I went for like, this is the vampy color season. This is the season of like badass 90s grunge, vampy lips, which I love. So I leaned into the coolness with the eyes, but I tried to not go too dark. I kept it open on the eyelids so that I could let the lip sort of be the statement. I think this was a really fun look. This is when I'm feeling like in a certain mood around the time autumn rolls around, and I've done a lot of summer makeup. I'm usually opting for something like this. I think everyone looks good in a vampy lip. If you find the right one for you, it's just such a staple to have a dark, badass lip. I think in this video I said that I was once featured on some random article on the internet, and it's like, why black lips or really dark lipstick is a horrible lipstick choice and it'll make your lips look small. And I thought that was so funny because I don't think that's the effect it creates. It's not for everybody. It certainly isn't, but I loved this look because it felt very grungy and 90s, and I like to tap into that energy sometimes. It really depends on my mood. I'm not wearing this to a job interview. I'm not wearing this necessarily on like date night, but I'm wearing this when I think this is a look I really wear when I'm really wearing makeup for myself. For the most part, I do wear makeup just for myself, but it's like when I'm not worried about being perceived a certain way, when I'm around my girls and we're having like a wine night or something, that's kind of when I'm in the mood for a look like this, when I feel witchy and bitchy. Okay, then we went into the spring season. I tried out warm spring first, and this is when I made a bit of a discovery I was sort of surprised by, because I always thought of the spring season as being like so colorful and bright, and I don't consider myself liking colors like that. Like my wardrobe is generally more muted, subdued, but then I wore this warm spring makeup. So this was the season when I leaned into shades that are just like, the first thing you notice is like a warmth to them, beachy kind of oranges, sandy, like oranges or neutrals, and like this salmony orange lip. And I felt very pretty with this look. It felt like my skin, rather than, I don't know, having sort of like popping out with like the dark lip contrast, it felt like my skin was like just having this general radiance to it, especially in person. I felt like my eyes were lit up. Some of the greens came out of them a little bit in person, and I just felt really good about this one. And I was a little bit surprised just because I have, for the longest time, leaned into more muted shades. So since this discovery, I have turned to makeup looks like this when I need to feel a certain way. And that's when I want to feel put together, like I'm wearing makeup that is enlivening, and it didn't feel like I was overwhelmed in any kind of way by the colors. So for one of my jobs, I'm the host of this new YouTube series. It's a bit out of my comfort zone because it's other people filming me. But anyway, I turned to these kind of colors for the filming days so far, because I just want to feel like the first thing you're going to notice about me is just me looking put together, rather than like, woo, that's a bright lip, that's a dark lip. Yeah, this was a discovery I made, so I wonder if that has to do with having a warmish olivey undertone or something. It certainly justifies to me why I gravitate towards gold jewelry much more than silver. You can't always tell on camera, but for me, when I'm wearing silver in person, it feels like, ugh, I hate it. I just really don't like it. Like gold's just, I don't know, it's more complimentary. So this discovery on this day felt like it explained a few things to me. Yeah, I was kind of pleasantly surprised. So I've been kind of playing with a little bit more vibrancy. And then I did the bright spring. So this is when the brightness is the first thing you notice, and then the warmth is sort of the secondary aspect. This is a season that has like one of the biggest color ranges. Let's think of a rainbow, you know? This borders bright winter, so both of those seasons just have this like plethora of fun colors to choose from. I liked this better than the bright winter because it felt like I could choose colors that, yeah, felt a little bit more in my comfort zone, like more of a greeny blue than like a cobalt blue and like a peachy lip. I went for a graphic eye for this one, just to have some fun with like letting those bright shades really pop. Yeah, it felt like it matched my eyes for sure. And it is bold though, like, but it's also the look I chose, you know? Maybe this one, this is where I see again that maybe my hair color doesn't sort of stand out as much. It's like the brightness on the eyes is what draws in your eye. It's not necessarily like bringing out my hair color or feeling like it's lighting up my skin. Yeah, this was a fun one. Now, this was when I was moving into like colors, stories that I don't gravitate towards. This was like the softer, more muted part of the color wheel. So first there was light spring, where I just wanted to lean into kind of like those Eastery shades and like keeping things on the warm side, like this peachy lip and just like a dusting of lavender on the eye. This just felt boring to me. If I were to do a look like this that felt more exciting to me, I'd add a lot more shimmer, a bit more depth to it. But yeah, there's something about when I feel constrained to have, or there's something about when like there's a lot of lightness going on with a makeup look. I don't know, I'm just bored. It's okay. This was my least favorite, the light spring, I think. But in terms of harmony with my complexion, I'd say like the bottom half definitely is kind of a little bit more muted version of the warm spring with that corally lip. But I'd rather rock maybe like something else on the top half. I mean, really shimmery, maybe something like this, a little bit more smokiness. And then the summer seasons, yeah, this was really leaning out of colors I turned to. First, I did the cool summer, so this palette's cool and muted. And so I opted for a silvery eye, but nothing too dark, and a cool tone pink lip. Again, this felt just a little boring to me. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much to say about it besides these are not colors that I like to turn to. I do appreciate that these colors on some people like can make them look striking, right? I feel like if there's anybody with sort of like a bit more contrast in their features or warmth or something and feeling like they have to stay in this zone of kind of more neutrally subdued tones, try some more vibrance there, because while I may not be a bright winter by any means, like there's enough people out there in the world wearing kind of everyday subtle makeup. Let's have some fun here. I wasn't a huge fan of this. 2 more to go. And then we had the soft summer look. This was one that I wanted to really lean into the mauvey pinks because that kept coming up as a recommendation for this season. And I do love a mauvey pink eye when I want to have sort of a colorful look that's also approachable, I will opt for something like this. It doesn't feel harmonious though, if I'm being honest. Like there's something lacking to me. I think it's just leaning so much into the cooler tones. You could tell I'm like less than enthused about this whole summer and softer color palettes. Yeah, I don't know. Not for me. And then lastly, I did the light summer, which is about light and cool tones. So like an icy blue eye is perfect for this look. Very ethereal. I wanted to have some fun here, so I put pearls all over my eyes because they say the pearl is like the perfect representation of the light summer season. And yeah, this was fun to me. I think the blush was a bit pale and cool for my complexion because I did notice sort of a strange play of colors between my actual skin and the color on my cheek. But I loved this look. I did. I thought this is where I sort of added some interest into these lighter shades. So yeah, I guess when I'm doing shades like this in the summer season, the light spring season, I like to add some kind of interesting element to it, whether it's like a winged liner, for example, to like bring more depth and contrast in. Yeah, I think that's how I like to play with colors like this. Okay, so that's the roundup of all the looks I did. Overall, I feel like from this experience, I learned sort of why I gravitate towards more shades than others. And if I'm trying to create a specific effect, I feel like I have a better grasp of like what shades I'd prefer to turn to. So I highly recommend doing something like this because it's just really fun. Also, it would be interesting to try it at different times of the year because like at the end of summer, I'm much more tan and it could change what I wear or what I feel looks better. Like, yeah, that's an interesting thing to consider too because people's skin changes throughout the year. People's hair changes throughout their life, like whether it's going gray or just darkening. So I think you may gravitate to colors more based on the seasons and the seasons of your life rather than this strict box of like what you can and cannot wear. I was watching with my mom the other day, Devil Wears Prada, and here was Meryl Streep looking striking in her cool gray hair and black, and it was just like such a vibe, right? But then you think of her in Mamma Mia, looking in a different way, just like healthy and bronzed and warm blonde, and it was just like, it felt like a big like F you to the color seasons because it's like, here is one person looking so beautiful in different ways, in totally different colors. Yeah, I think there's endless examples of people who are working outside the guidelines and looking all the more striking for it. Anya Taylor-Joy has come up many times as a debated, contested person. It's like, what is she? Because she's dyed her hair to be this like platinum blonde and she wears a lot of cool looks on the red carpet, and she just kind of like, she's created this very interesting effect. She looks so ethereal, but I think naturally like she's more subdued coloring than that. So yeah, start paying attention to some of your favorite movies and shows and actors and people in your life and just see how color tells a story. And I think every day when you get dressed, when you put your makeup on, you get to decide what story are you telling today. And yeah, to me, self-expression is so important and integral to being a human being on this very complicated planet that why not take a crazy chance? Why not do a crazy chance? Sorry, Hillary Duff, anyone? So why not just have fun? That's it for today. I feel like I've talked my own ear off, and I hope you enjoyed this recap, looking over everything with me. I'd love to know your thoughts down below on the color season system, what you think of it, and yeah, what look was your favorite? Because you may have a totally different opinion than I do of what looks best on me. And that's another thing to bear in mind. I did see this thing about how like the color seasons, it's kind of very Eurocentric Western beauty standards because it is a very limited idea of what is beautiful anyway. And I think that's just reiterating the point I've said time and time again throughout this series and throughout this video, that beauty is subjective and like color is subjective. So yeah, leave a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts on this. And I hope you're inspired to have a little bit of fun with your makeup wardrobe. Just know with makeup anyway, it washes off, and you don't like something, it's so easy to change before you, I suppose, like dye your hair or something. So just have fun. And I'd love if you would tag me in any looks if you want to try playing with the color seasons and doing this same experiment, trying them all. I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, and definitely like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for my fair olive makeup look as sort of a one last continuation on this experiment and looking at color harmony. And yeah, stay witchy, stay bitchy, have a good week. Bye, witches.